All right, y'all. It's fair to say the rise of AOC is real as a heart attack. I think that's fair to say. So let me show you this. This is a new poll that just came out. Democratic Senate polling among Jewish voters. AOC 45, Chuck Schumer 38. Jewish voters. Wow. So clearly, New York Jews are not fans of Netanyahu, not fans of the Israeli government, not fans of the Gaza genocide, and they prefer somebody like AOC over Chuck Schumer, who's been, rah-rah cheerleading while pretending he's not. So that's huge, huge, huge. If she were to run for that seat, it's hard to imagine her losing. If she were to run for Senate in New York, it's hard for her to imagine her losing. However, having said that, I do get the sense she might run for president before she would run for the New York Senate seat. That's the sense I get. Because she's really having a moment now where multiple polls have her as the face of the Democratic Party. Multiple polls. In some polls, when you ask just who do you want in 2028, it still has Kamala number one, but then AOC is number two in a lot of those polls. Right? So, huge. Now, by the way, there was also that poll. We discussed this on the show at the time, I believe. In a 2028 New York primary poll for the Senate, AOC led Chuck Schumer by double digits. By double digits. The survey by the liberal data firm Data for Progress, first shared with Politico, found that 55% of Democratic likely voters said they supported or leaned towards supporting AOC, while 36% backed or leaned towards Senator Schumer. 9% were undecided. 36 to 55. Nearly a 20-point lead. And this guy has been in the Senate forever. This guy is literally one of the leaders of the Democratic Party. People are so disgusted by him. They're so disgusted by his caving to MAGA and Trump repeatedly. And he's viewed as part of the gerontocracy problem, too. So they are screaming for AOC. By the way, even AOC's, some of her more moderate counterparts in the House, even they've said, if you run for the Senate in New York, I will cut you checks myself. So now it's not even just, the ideological lefties are the ones who support her. Now, she actually has gotten many, many members who are more moderate than her just because they're so sick of Chuck Schumer and the weakness and the fecklessness that they're like, we know you're better. Let's go with you. I don't know. You tell me. I'm leaning more towards I think she's going to run for president in 2028, not necessarily the Senate. Chuck Schumer would have to thank his lucky stars if she doesn't run for the Senate and she runs for the White House, because I think she would really dominate if it came to a Senate race in New York. And honestly, for the presidential race, I think she'd be a favorite as well. But that's the main point here, too, is that Republicans should be terrified of the rise of AOC. And the reason I say that is because there will be many of them that underestimate her and mock her. And they like the fact, AOC is going to be the Democratic candidate. Well, I think that bodes well for us Republicans. I think we'll be able to beat her. It's sort of like the inverse of what happened in 2016. Remember in 2016, the Pied Piper theory? So you had Hillary and her team. They wanted Trump to be the Republican nominee because they felt like he's the easiest to beat. And then what happened? Right? So they even propped up Trump in many ways because they thought they'd definitely beat him. What happened? Well, you could see the inverse of that in some ways on the Republican side because they would want to run against AOC. They probably think she's uniquely weak, but I think they're underestimating her. To be fair, there's some Republicans who actually have correctly realized that, no, she's actually formidable, because in the same way liberals and Democrats sort of mock Trump and didn't take him seriously, there's a lot of Republicans who mock AOC and feels like she's not serious. So some get it, but I think a lot of them would really, really underestimate her. And they're underestimating her at a time where they can't afford to, because the data is rolling in day after day that this is real. This surge is real. Face of the Democratic Party, near the top in every single poll for 2028 for president, crushing Chuck Schumer in a Senate race for the U.S. Senate seat in New York. It's happening, y'all. It's happening. And it's going to be, what'll happen, as you all know, is that come 2028, in order for you to be a Democrat and have a chance at any elected office, you are going to have to be spitting fire. There is no more room for the mealy mouth, we like to negotiate and work bipartisanship with the right. We enjoy that very much. Not going to work. Not going to work. This time around, people want, they're criminals, they're fascists, they're evil, they're destroying this country, they're arresting judges, they're locking up innocent people in a concentration camp in El Salvador, they're giving all the money to the wealthy, they're waging all these wars, they're doing a genocide in Gaza. They want people to tell the truth. And guess who's better positioned than almost anybody to do exactly that in that scenario? It's AOC. it's AOC. I would just say, for the love of God, we need to make sure that she doesn't get the wrong people around her. Because a lot of these Democratic staffers in D.C. are professional losers. Their instincts are wrong about everything. It reminds me of Kamala and Tim Walz when they first became the Democratic standard bearers. They surged in the polls. They were up like 6 on Trump in one poll, and it's because they came out of the gates hot. They were having fun with it. They were talking about the meme where J.D. Vance fucks couches. They talk about how the Republicans are weird. They were surging. Then Biden's team started controlling the Kamala campaign, and what happened? Stop using that weird argument. We don't think that works very well. Don't talk about the memes of J.D. Vance fucking couches. Go back to the democracy talk. Every piece of advice they gave was objectively incorrect and harmed Kamala. They told her to stop talking about a ban on price gouging for groceries. Why? They were scared when the Republicans said, that's communism. These Democratic consultants were like, ooh, they're right. Let's back off of that. Meanwhile, when you polled on that question, it was through the fucking roof. It was a great thing to lean into. Don't let the professional losers get AOC's ear because they will drive her into the ground. In fact, everybody should do what Kat Abu-Ghazaleh does, which is say, I don't have any consultants. I don't need somebody to tell me what I believe and what I should focus on. That should be a point of pride to say, I don't need some asshole who's paid to tell me what to say and tell me what I think. Fuck that. That is insincere and inauthentic by its very nature. Just say what you think and say what you want to happen to the country. This shouldn't be fucking radical, the stuff I'm saying. This should be obvious stuff. So the rise of AOC is here, and people on the right should absolutely be terrified. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.